A message for the world's wealthiest nations from Brazil's president at the Amazon summit. Mother Nature needs your money.
At least 41 people have died, including 3 children, after a migrant ship capsized while trying to reach the Italian island of Lampedusa.
Poland sending 2,000 extra troops to defend its eastern border, prompting Moscow defense chiefs to say they'll bolster their western flank. A dam in Norway was partially breached after days of rain and flooding brought by Storm Hans, prompting emergency evacuations of homes. At the end of a 2-day summit discussing the fate of the Amazon's rainforests, a stern rebuke for the world's wealthiest nations from the 8 countries sharing the river's basin. The South American nations say the rich should pay their fair share. A message they'll be taking to the UN's next climate summit in the United Arab Emirates in November.
Nós vamos para a COP28 com o objetivo de dizer ao mundo rico que se quiserem preservar efetivamente o que existe de floresta, é preciso colocar dinheiro, não apenas para cuidar da copa da floresta, mas para cuidar do povo que mora lá embaixo, que quer trabalhar.
The Amazon's capable of absorbing almost a quarter of the world's CO2 emissions. The message from the summit is that it holds the key to the planet's future.
At least 41 people, including 3 children, have died in a shipwreck off the island of Lampedusa in southern Italy. 4 survivors were rescued by a Maltese merchant ship and transferred to the Italian Coast Guard. On their arrival at Lampedusa, they told authorities that their boat left from Tunisia and was capsized by a larger wave. 34 people were reported drowned last week in 2 other shipwrecks off the Mediterranean island. Some 92,000 irregular migrants have arrived in Italy this year, more than double the number compared to the same period in 2022. French Prime Minister Elisabeth Borne visited the scene of the holiday home for people with disabilities in eastern France, where 11 people died after a fire broke out early Wednesday. Borne expressed her condolences to the families of the victims and extended her gratitude to the firefighters and rescuers on site. Now an investigation is underway to determine how the fire started and whether the building met safety standards.
La propriétaire, vous doutez bien qu'elle était en état de choc, donc elle n'a pas été vraiment en mesure de répondre à nos questions. Quant à la conformité du bâtiment, ça, là aussi, ça sera l'enquête et les services de gendarmerie qui pourront à un moment donné établir ce qu'il y a lieu d'établir en la matière.
Firefighters in the town of Winsenheim, close to the border with Germany, said the fire likely started on the home's upper floor. The ground floor was made of stone and the upper floors were built entirely of wood in the traditional style of the region, which could explain why the fire spread so quickly.
Five officers from France's elite tactical police unit RAID were taken into custody on Tuesday in connection with the death of a 27-year-old man. Mohamed Bendris, who worked for a delivery service, died in hospital in early July at the time of violent riots in the southern city of Marseille. He'd reportedly felt unwell while riding his scooter, but an autopsy showed traces of an impact on his chest. It's believed this could have been caused by a rubber bullet, possibly fired by the police as they struggled to control violent riots in the city. The protest was sparked by the death of a teenage boy who was shot dead by a policeman during a traffic check outside Paris in late June. The 5 officers were detained for questioning in the probe over Bendris' death, and 2 of them were later released.
Eastern Norway and the dam at a disused hydroelectric power plant is overwhelmed. It's thought the floodgates failed to open and the river Glomma, swollen by the torrential rains brought by Storm Hans, spilled over the top. Up to 20 homes downstream had to be evacuated.
Siste nytt jo at elva fortsetter å stige. Men vi jobber med de samhandlingsaktørene som vi har fått med oss for å bistå oss her. Vi vet ikke hva vi faller på ennå, men det I hvert fall Evakueringen vi godt I gang med, og de blir ivaretatt av politi og kommune.
The storm's impact has been felt across swathes of Norway and Sweden. Floodwaters have washed away bridges, turned roads into rivers and uprooted homes, casting them adrift and turning them into driftwood.
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen was welcomed by Slovenian Prime Minister Robert Golob in Brdo pri Kranju on Wednesday, where she witnessed Slovenia's devastating summer floods firsthand. Floods and landslides have submerged large parts of central and northern Slovenia over the last week. The European Union is now pledging short and long-term financial support to cope with the aftermath.
We were with you in the first days, immediately with the material that was needed. It is the mobile bridges, the excavators, the helicopters and the technical team and the crews. And of course we will stay as long as it is necessary.
The extreme weather has led to the deaths of 6 people. Slovenia's National Weather Service says a month's worth of rain fell in just 24 hours. The government estimates that the damage could exceed €500 million.
A steel fence rather than an iron curtain. This is the border between east and west that Poland is reinforcing. It's to send 2,000 extra troops there, saying it fears Belarus is about to step up its hybrid warfare tactic, weaponizing flows of refugees and orchestrating a migration crisis at the border. Russia prefers to see the threat coming from the west.
На западном и северо-западном стратегических направлениях угрозы военной безопасности Российской Федерации возросли кратно. Серьезным дестабилизирующим фактором является вступление в НАТО Финляндии и в перспективе Швеции. На финской территории вероятно размещение дополнительных воинских контингентов и ударных вооружений НАТО. Существующие риски связаны с милитаризацией Польши.
But there are also distinct signs of militarization in Belarus. Moscow has deployed strategic nuclear weapons there, and following its failed mutiny, Wagner's mercenaries have also been stationed in the country. Cold War tactics in the summer months. Russian MOD pictures of multiple launch rocket systems targeting, it says, Ukrainian army positions. It's not possible to verify when and where the pictures were shot. It's also unclear which side has the upper hand in Kupiansk, 120 kilometers east of Kharkiv, though both sides report heavy fighting and claim advances. Candles and prayers in Odessa, where Ukraine's president was visiting a cathedral bombed by Russia.
Заслухав доповідь щодо ліквідації наслідків російських ударів по Одесі, по області, і тут, у Свято-Преображенському храмі, який Росія намагалась знищити, відчувається, що наші люди, наш дух, все одно сильніші, ніж російський терор. Шукаємо системи ППО, щоб захистити Одесу, увесь наш південь. Я дякую всім світі, хто підключився до цієї роботи з нами.
As work continued in Odessa, there were reports from Kropyvsk in the east that Russia had deliberately targeted rescue workers in a so-called double-tap ballistic missile strike, hitting the same site twice to maximize casualties.
Ukrainian forces appear to have conducted a limited raid across the Dnieper River and landed on the east bank of Kherson region, says the Institute for the Study of War in its latest report. Although Ukrainian officials say that the reported raid is not confirmed by the military general staff at this stage. Now, several Russian mail bloggers reported that Ukrainian forces landed up to 7 boats, each carrying around 6 to 7 people on the east bank of the Dnieper near the Russian-occupied village of Kozachi Lageri here, broke through Russian defensive lines and advanced up to 800 meters deep. Hotspots on available NASA fire information for resource management system data from the past 24 hours in the area appear to confirm that there was significant combat likely preceded or accompanied by artillery fire. Moscow-appointed administration of the occupied parts of Kherson region downplayed the reports of the Ukrainian landing and claimed that Russian artillery fire repelled the Ukrainian boats and that there are no Ukrainian troops in this area. However, the majority of prominent Russian mill bloggers claimed that Ukrainian forces did manage to use tactical surprise and land on the east bank here in Kozachyi Lageri before engaging Russian forces in small arms exchange. Ukrainian forces first established a bridgehead on the Russian-controlled east bank of the Dnieper River near the Antonivsky Bridge in June. Later in July, Moscow-appointed administration of the occupied parts of Kherson region said it had been eliminated. The Institute for the Study of War says in its latest update that Ukrainian forces are present on the east bank, although it remains unclear whether Ukrainian troops have established an enduring presence.
After months of anticipation, a single ticket sold in the U.S. state of Florida has won the Mega Millions lottery jackpot, America's third largest ever, at more than 1.5 billion euros. The prize had continued to swell since April, when a 4-month unlucky streak saw no one match the game's 6 winning numbers. Now the winner, who hasn't yet come forward, will have to choose whether to take their prize as a more than 700 million euro lump sum or collect an annuity over 30 years.